Yo, what's going on, guys? My name is Alex, and we yet again have another trade to talk about. Things are heating up in the offseason. We got a Chris Paul and Jordan Poole swap. The Warriors received, obviously, Chris Paul in this trade, and the Wizards, they got Jordan Poole, they got Ryan Hollins, a protected 2030 first-round pick, and a 2027 second-round pick. So, to be honest, the picks, they're so far in the future that we can't really tell what's going to happen, but these are protected picks, so they probably won't be too great. So we're just going to kind of talk about the players, specifically Chris Paul and Jordan Poole. Don't really know much about Ryan Hollins, to be honest, but to just talk about for the Warriors, when I initially first heard this trade, I thought this was a awful trade. I know that Jordan Poole, especially in the playoffs, is very inconsistent, and his defense isn't that great, and if he's not really scoring the ball, he's not really providing much of anything, at least in a positive nature. So I understand maybe wanting to get rid of Jordan Poole for maybe someone who is a little bit more consistent. But Chris Paul? I know Chris Paul, historically, people think that he does underperform, and while he definitely does have stupid fly. And although Chris Paul does have those moments, especially now at an advanced age, I think those moments are just more bound to happen. Like, Chris Paul is 38, so, and he's also injury prone as well. I mean, he wasn't available in the playoffs this year. So while I understand Poole is inconsistent, to expect consistency from a 38-year-old aging star who is not showing consistency in terms of availability, and even when he is available, I still don't even know what he's going to provide that's really going to be close to what Jordan Poole could. Now, I know that sounds kind of crazy, but let me just say it's like Chris Paul as a scorer isn't really providing much rim pressure. His shots just in general for mid-range and three-point range just have decreased, and even as a three-point shooter, he really isn't that great of a three-point shooter anymore. So in terms of scoring the ball, you're going to have to find someone else like Steph Curry, Clay, and Wiggins to score the ball even more. And while those are some great offensive weapons, it would be nice to have someone, Jordan Poole-esque to give you around 15 points off the bench. And I just don't know if Chris Paul at this point of his career is going to be able to do that in an efficient manner. But I do like Chris Paul as a playmaker as well. Now, I don't know if he's going to start or if he's going to be coming off the bench. If he does start, I assume Steph Curry will just be playing the two. But adding Chris Paul to the Warriors, I think, definitely adds another layer to what the Warriors could possibly do as an off-ball team. As we know, Clay and Steph love running around the ball. And if you're able to put the ball in Chris Paul's hand instead of Jordan Poole's hands, I think a lot of good things can come out of that. And in that sense, that's why I'm kind of warming up to this trade a little bit. Again, the scoring from Chris Paul is not going to be that great, but I do think he's a great basketball mind. I think he's able to make the right decisions. That's something that Jordan Poole just wasn't able to do. And again, he is young, so we could have possibly seen that, but even then, I don't think it would have ever reached the point where Chris Paul is, even at a advanced age. And even if Chris Paul does come off the bench, it is nice to know that, hey, Steph Curry's coming, he's going to go sit on the bench, but we're going to put in a grown-up, not a 23-year-old trying to put up as many shots as he can to try to prove himself to be the next Steph Curry. We're going to put a grown-up on the court, and he's going to be able to manage the game. I think Chris Paul is a very good game manager, and I think he'll be able to make the right decisions, again, because of his high IQ. So in that sense, that's another reason why I'm kind of warming up to this trade. We will also have to see just what the Warriors do in general throughout this offseason, because they still need to make a decision on Draymond Green. He did opt out of his contract. So is Draymond Green going to be back? And if not, who are you going to add to this roster, to fill everything out? So things are still kind of moving around. I don't want to completely rule out this trade, just think, oh, it doesn't work. I know the thumbnail says this may go wrong. It may go wrong, right? They still may get Draymond, but maybe the supporting cast, even around the players that they have now, might not be enough. They might face similar problems in the playoffs where Curry is just kind of having to put the team on his back, even if Chris Paul is there. And who even knows? Chris Paul may not even be there because he's injured. So do I think this has, potential to be a positive trade for them? I actually do think so. I think the Warriors can definitely benefit for having, Chris Paul on here, even if he is 38 years old. However, it just may go wrong because, again, he may not be available, and I'm not too sure what the Warriors are going to look like, at least as a whole team, once the season starts. So we'll have to see how that goes. And in terms with the Wizards, Now that they got Poole on their team, again, the trade isn't official yet, but I'm assuming this is going to go through unless, things just go terribly wrong. But they got Chris Paul from the Beal trade, so now they got Jordan Poole. So that is a lot better. Obviously, I wish they kind of got more out of it, out of that Beal trade. But getting Jordan Poole, who I think is going to be able to blossom and probably be a most improved player candidate, he'll probably be averaging around like 25 to 27 points per game next season. Will it be efficient? Probably not. But we saw what he could do when Steph Curry was injured pretty much this entire last season. He was able to score the ball, at least high scoring numbers on high volume, not too efficient, of course. But he's young and he's going to make mistakes, which is totally fine. But it just wasn't good on the Warriors, who their aspirations were to win a championship. And they got it the 1 year with Jordan Poole, right? But it's just obvious that at least how the team was constructed now, they just can't wait for Jordan Poole to blossom into that player. I still think it will take a couple years for him to even improve more. So now that he is on the Wizards, he's going to be able to blossom, and he's going to be able to make mistakes and not really have to worry about the team's success. I'm sure he does want to win, but the Wizards are trying to lose. So I don't think he'll have, much of a problem. He'll be able to get his, he's getting paid a lot, but even now, like on the Wizards, he'll be able to put up numbers and possibly get paid more when his contract ends in, the next like 3 or 4 years. And then for the Wizards in general, again, like Poole is definitely better than Chris Paul, especially for a rebuilding team, but they also got a first round pick out of it and a second round pick. They're starting to, build for the future, which is kind of what we expect. We just have to see what they do, but they are getting some assets now that they're kind of depleting the roster. So shout out to the Wizards. And those are my thoughts on the Chris Paul and Jordan Poole trade. Let me know down below what y'all think. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and sub. Trying to get to 1,000 subs by the end of the year, so it'd mean a lot. You can also check out my socials down below in the description. You can also check out this video somewhere on the screen where I talked about the Kristaps Porzingis trade and why, although I think the Celtics did get better, I don't think they got that much better to the point where I think they are one of the favorites in the NBA. Anyways, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.